Grand Risings, Grand Risings. I'm about to get right into it. We're going to play a song or two to get a couple people in here. I know it's been a minute since I've been live. I'm about to go on in. Love's Glam, Grand Risings, love. Grandest. It's about to be a really good, informative one. As always, I'm not going to waste y'all time for nothing. But this is going to be a good one. Going into the Acts of Incorporation, showing the validity of the Boule and the Freemasonry that, kind of goes along with that. Okay, so I'm trying to get my Bluetooth together. Give me a second here. Because, it's a few people in. Ken, Risings. I know it's been a minute. How are you guys doing? I hope everyone is awesome and outstanding today. We're going to start off with a very good read. I want to give you guys, Randy, peace, brother. Peace, brother. Peace. Yes, it's going to be a very good one. So let's see. It's acting stupid.
Bluetooth connected.
Okay, there we go. I'm about to say, I got to play a song or two. Y'all know how I do. All right, this is a very good, encouraging one as well. I want you guys to listen to this song and the words of this song. It's a good one. So let's go.
Questions. The right answers. The right clarity. Offers the proper direction. With the proper direction, you gotta do is execute it in mind. First and foremost, focus on what you're about to do. After all you made it through, you still be doubting you. Can't be waiting on the sign when you're the proof. No point in looking at the facts when you're the truth. Your purpose and your power are much greater than your problems. Use them both to solve it, or they'll keep evolving. Trauma ain't your fault, but healing is your responsibility.
It's your responsibility.
Not your biggest enemy.
What?
Sometimes you gotta make a pivot. Focus on my future, not my past, and everything shifted. Self-awareness makes you truly gifted. I identify my triggers, learn from them, and start moving different. But you're gonna be a slave until you master self. Mindsets of abundance, they attracting wealth. If it don't align with me, then that's fine with me. But greatest what I gotta be. Greatest shall you be. Greatest shall you do. Greatest shall you have. But you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance? Greatest shall you be. Greatest shall you do. Greatest shall you have. But you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance? Yeah. Focus on the gifts that God gave you. Who are you outside the way that your pain made you? What would you do if you ain't have what your fear gave you? How would you love if broken expectations didn't change you? Don't make excuses, make better decisions. Can't blame nobody else for the way that you live it. Playing victim to your past is gonna keep you a victim. Overcome that superhero syndrome. Go from lack of limitations to a lack of limitations. It's gonna take you moving with a lack of hesitation. It's gonna take reverse and all of that backwards thinking. But it's gonna take you further than all the dreams that you dreaming. And yeah, you can do it. I swear you can do it. I believe you have what it takes to get through it. This is divine timing, divine intervention, divine direction, divine protection for your divine shall you be. Greater shall you do, greater shall you have, but you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance? Greater shall you be, greater shall you do, greater shall you have, but you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance?
What's your greater resistance is in you. Let's go. I've been needing a little good energy to get me started. I hope you guys enjoyed that link. There's one more I got for you. Let's get right into that. And then we're
Let's
going to
get
start the read.
Lesson 2, credit card combat. Getting your
We're going to start the read
together,
in 2 minutes. All right. Let me get right to it. This is what I'm talking about. That good energy.
I need your energy. I need your energy. This world is killing me. Light it up. If you feeling my beat, 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 I need your energy. High life, high tide, don't drown. Big breath, take steps, stay cool. When I'm down, that vibe, that's right. On top, that high, I fly, skydive, high five, won't die. See hope, see drive, see why. And my eyes, win big, win life, take off, bye bye, no slip, black ice, big shoes, lit fly, don't stop, must try. Energy, that's why I'm doing the most. In the middle of the road, I'm running the globe. I'm fighting for those that give everything to get that what they owe. So close, don't fold. Live bright, live bold. Kick back, get close. Light it up for yo. I need your energy. I need your energy. This world is killing me. Light it up. If you feeling my beat, light it up. If you feeling the beat, light it up. If you feeling the beat, light it up. If you feeling the beat, I need your energy. This what they want. This what they need. This what we on. Took it worldwide and brought it back home. Turn it on. Energy. Never been scared. Always prepared. Taking you there. You need to be here. Heads in the air. Yeah. Flossed up, fly like a salsa. Live in the moment. Get it, on it. Live it, breathe it, zone it. No time to waste. No time to slow down when we out on the chase. Don't be pumping your brakes. When you come up, remember you do what it takes. Doesn't need gunshots, man. Still gotta stay focused. Ain't no sleep, stay woke. Gotta keep your eyes open. When all of my energy gone, don't leave me out on my own. Don't leave me all on my own. Light it up, light it up, light it up, light it up.
Light it up.
Need your energy. I need.
Talking about igniting them inside. They done left. They ain't want to hear that. It was for you.
If you feeling my beat, light it up. If you feeling my beat, light it up. If you feeling my beat, light it up. If you feeling my beat,
I need your energy.
Every time you keep me on my feet, happily excited by.
Period. Let's go. Y'all ready? Let's get into it. So basically, guys, let's start with this, right? This right here is Acts of Incorporation, building the annuity account, the bylaws, and the board of managers, duties of all the officers. This is important, duties of the officers. Financial regulations, duties of the standing committees, meeting of board, order of business, rules of debate, reports from the missions, publication and amendments of the bylaws. And then we have, of course, the Constitution. The Constitution, contributions, and the average for 10 years. Deceased patrons, director of the foreign missionaries, domestic missions. American Indians, Arizona, Black Hills, the Chinese, the Dakota, the English-speaking conferences, the German, the Indian Territory itself, Montana, New Mexico, North Dakota, Scandinavia, Utah, Welsh, and West Nebraska. Utah. I'm not going to get into that today, but the next build, I'm going to try to go into that because I want to show you guys energy areas and things that have been used against us. Utah, particularly where they have a lot of our records, and the Mormons, right? The Mormons being the missions, one of their allies that actually created a lot of these things to remove our people from the land, giving new names, so on and so forth. Welsh, West Nebraska, the final statements, foreign missions, so on and so forth. We're not going to get into all of this because it's a lot, guys. This is like really a lot. But I want to make a specific clarity to you guys on what's going on. So let's get going. We're going to start to read. I want you guys to see. These are the managers and the ministers. Now, we're talking about the Acts of Incorporation, the corporation, the United States Corp, the USA, right? Board of managers are ministers. Okay, you're gonna get why laymen. Okay, and I hope this thing don't start acting stupid because it's moving slow again. Let's see. Okay, you guys are there. I don't know why this internet. Y'all know I always got an internet issue. They don't want me to do nothing. Okay, so here. All right, let's get to it. It's moving again. These are the standing committees, right? The treasurer is ex officio a member. The treasurer, corresponding secretaries are advisory members at each of the standing committees, except for the committees on the estimates of all the audits. The bishop having charge of foreign mission, right? The bishop being in charge of foreign missions for the United States Corporation, the USA. Women's mission work. You guys remember I showed you guys probably 2 years ago. I went over the entire information on the women's mission, how they go out to bring the people in, having 50 or more people with a church, a school, and a hospital facility. They're now able to orchestrate a reservation, planting a nation with the 50 some odd foreigners and having the pastor become a self-appointed chief. So the women's mission work is never done. Let's get right into the Act of Incorporation. An Act of Incorporation to incorporate the Mission Society and Methodist Episcopal Church that was passed on January 9th of 1839. The people of the state of New York represented in the state and assembly do enact as follows. The people of the state of New York. This is important. Comprehending this statement. It says that the people of the state, not the state of. When you look at things, you'll see like that's the state of this, the state of Colorado, the state of Illinois, that's the state of. It's showing you right here that the people are the state of, the people of the state. Okay. This is very important because we're going to get into other information on the people, we the people, who the people are, and the misconception some people have as far as like who these things apply to. We're going to clear that up. It says the people of the state of New York represented in Senate and Assembly do enact as follows. It says the people that the Senate and the Assembly represent. The Senate and Assembly is supposed to represent the people, right? It's for the benefit of the people, no one else, right? Understanding this, all right? We're going to skip over all the names. I could care less about everyone, name that was in there. You guys may be able to find a family member of some of these names. If you want to screenshot it and search through it, you can. All right. So let's go. I'm going to start right here in section 1 where it talks about the missionary society, right? Right here. The Missionary Society of the of the Methodist Episcopal Church, and by that name and style be capable of purchasing, listen to this, purchasing, holding, and conveying such real estate as the purpose of the corporation shall require. But the annual income of the real estate to be held by them shall not exceed the sum of $5,000, $5,000 in real estate for the use of the corporation to make situations for them, right? Okay. The real estate to be held by them not to exceed the sum of $5,000, right? In section 2, it says that the object of the said corporation is to diffuse more generally the blessings of education. Here they go. They want to educate you. They want to make you civil. They want to make you a Christian. See? The purpose is to do what? The blessings of education, civilization, making something civil in a civil land. Education, civilization, and Christianity throughout the United States and elsewhere, everywhere. Their mission is to have this all over the world, right? This is why the Mormons have been all over, right? Because they have continued to spread the gospel, to bring people into the fold, and they have hidden and taken the records of the American Indians. Section 3, the management and the disposition of the affairs and the property of the state corporation shall be vested in the board of managers to be elected annually on the third Monday in April in the city of New York. Listen, this is very important because the next document we get into, we're going to clarify some things about these people that are under the board of managers, right? It says that in Section 4, the persons that are named in the first section of the act shall be the first board members of such corporation and shall hold their offices until the next annual election until others shall be elected in their place. We know how that happens. That happens all the time. Section 5, the said corporation shall possess the general powers and be subject to the liabilities that are imposed in and by the third title of the 8th chapter of the first part of the revised statutes. Under Section 6, the legislation may at any time alter or repeal the act. This act shall take effect immediately. Now check this out. This is something I want to show you guys as well. Going right back into it, right? In the Mission Society, showing you everything it divides containing all of the last will and testaments of any person. This is why I set up when people were saying, oh, you know, she's setting up this paperwork and oh, she just did some frivolous paperwork. Poor things. I know you guys just didn't comprehend what you were doing. I take some of the fault. I still will take some of the blame, and I'll admit it again here today. Maybe I thought people were ready to get themselves set up with their estates because they came to me and wanted to do that, but they didn't really know what was going on. Okay. And I apologize for that. Maybe I was a little before my time with you guys on that. But either way, let's continue. It says in April of 1839, they shall be capable of taking, holding, or receiving any real estate by virtue of any device contained in any of the last will and testament of any person. Listen, anything, listen, they will be capable. This is what happens now in probate court. See, if you don't have your estate set up and your trust set up, this is what happens, right? It says they shall be capable of taking, holding, or receiving any real estate by virtue of any device contained in any last will and testament of any person whatsoever. So see, when you don't have your estate set up, when you don't have your trustees and fiduciaries and the beneficiaries all lined up in a row, when you have your things situated together, this is what happens. The state comes in and takes it. They come in and they can take control of the real estate, the real estate, which is the energy state, which is the person's actual conglomerate, right? They are the transmitting utility that actually brings in the source of the securities for credit to be applied to a person's active lifestyle, right? Okay. It says by virtue, right, of any device contained in a last will and testament of any person, letting you know. Let's continue. The clear annual income of which device shall not exceed the sum of $10,000, provided no person leaving a wife, listen, leaving a wife or a child or a parent shall devise to such corporation more than 1/4 of his or her estate. So even if you have a wife, even if you have a child or you have a parent that is tied to you when it comes to your estate, they still want to take 1/4 of that. The state wants to claim 1/4 of that, right? Wife or child or parent, it doesn't matter. They only want to give them a 1/4 of that, and they want to take 1/4, taking possession of something that has nothing to do with them or doesn't belong to them, right? Okay, let's continue. They shall devise, I'm going to restart right here again and continue on. They shall devise to such corporation more than 1/4 of his or her estate after the payment of his or her debts. And such device shall be valid to the actual extent of such 1/4, and no such device shall be valid in any will which shall not have been made and executed at least 2 months before the deceased death of the testator. Okay, these acts shall take effect immediately, letting you know that no matter what, they're going to have a invested portion of your estate that they're going to assume, because you have not left anything, usually a will or an estate, your trust, to have these directives correctly done, right? In your benefit and for your family and for your beneficiary, so on and so forth. This all happens at least 2 months before the death of the testator. So a person needs to have a will and everything in place at least 2 months before, so it's effective and it is on file. Right? This act shall take effect immediately. An act to amend and act to incorporate the missionary society, so on and so forth. I'm going to keep going, guys, because there's so much to go into this, but I'm going to read again. As you see, it always goes into the people of the state. So let's get to this real quick. I'm going to show you something else. All right. All right. Okay. Grandis, Professor. Grandis, Medusa, Grandis, everyone that has come in. I'm on the other screen reading, guys. I'm going on some very, very important information for you guys to have clarity on what is going on in your estate. All right. Now, check this out, guys. This is going to be very important as well. Let me move this over a little bit, and we're going to read it. Now, if you understand that the said corporation in New York that they were talking about. This right here is the actual charter of New York. This is the charter of New York, right? You guys remember the timeline. Now, this is from 1897. We're looking at about 60 some odd years later. This is a charter number 378, if you want to look it up. Charter of the City of New York, charter number 378 of the laws of 1897. And this is going into everything that their responsibilities are, so on and so forth. So I'm going to explain this to you guys if you don't have a comprehension. Now, it says the municipal assembly, the trustees of public property. Now, keep in mind, remember it said that the property, hold on, let's go back real quick. Let me show you this again. I want to confirm that what I'm showing you guys. See, it says that the people of the state of New York represented, the people are represented in the Senate and the Assembly, right? They are represented. So the assembly is supposed to be a representation of the people. The assembly is supposed to be a representation of the people because everything falls to the people. The people are the ones that are invested in the actual corporations being able to thrive, right? Okay, so let's go. Let's look at what their duties were in 1897. So the municipal assembly, right? Remember the assembly, we were talking about the ones that represent you. You guys understand that the assembly that represents you, they actually have trustees of that public property that we just spoke of, that real property, the estate property, so on and so forth that we were speaking of. You guys have an understanding of that? Let's pay attention because this is gonna get real good and it's gonna be so clear because y'all know I'm gonna make sure you gotta understand that. Now check this out. We're looking at section 59 right here. Under section 59 with the municipal assembly and the trustees of public property, they're talking about our property. The public is you. You are the public, right? Okay. Under section 59, it says the municipal assembly and the several members thereof, the members that we just spoke of, right? And all the officers and the employees of the city. This is important. All the employees of the city, right? They are hereby declared trustees of the property. They're trustees of the property. Put a 1 in the chat if anybody in here remembers and knows or even understands what a trustee is, right? Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys, just in case. I'm going to come check in a second and see what you guys have there. Public trustees. Let me see if I can pull something up real quick. I don't want to waste a lot of time. All right. All right. Public trustees. Public trustees can refer to publicly appointed officials or entities that are acting as fiduciaries for the public. Is that clear? Let me put that in the chat for y'all, just in case. Make sure that it's clear for anyone that does come in and they missed some of this, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys know and understand that the public property that they were just speaking of is for what? The fiduciaries, the public property. They are public trustees, right? You understand that they are public trustees. It tells you right here that the municipal assembly are the trustees of the public property, right? The trustees of the public property. Let me go up in case y'all can't see that good, right? All right. So public trustees thank you, Professor. Somebody with me. I want to make sure y'all paying attention, all right? All right. So we know that the public trustees can refer to publicly appointed officials or entities. That's anybody, any government agency. I'm going to get into some of these agencies too. Some of these people that you may not believe or understand that they're agents of the state, right? And they're supposed to be represented by you, which means they're supposed to be for you, not against you. But most of these municipalities and companies and corporations are against you. All right, let's continue. The municipal assembly, trustees of public property under section 59, as it just told you, right? It said that these are employees of the city. All of these people are employees of the city, and they are hereby declared trustees of the property. Trustees of the property. What property? The public property. It says the funds and the effects of the said city respectively, right? So far as such property, funds and effects are or may be committed to their management or control. It's committed to their management or control it. They can control it and they can manage it, but it doesn't belong to them. It is the property of the public people. And every person that is residing, all of the residents, everybody residing in the city, everybody that's residing in that city, when authorized to pay taxes therein, paying taxes therein, and who shall pay taxes therein, And who shall pay taxes? Don't you pay taxes? Don't you like pay taxes? Let me show you the misappropriation of what's going on with those taxes too. We'll get this pulled up next. Hold on, let me just get it ready because we're going to be very clear today. Let's see. All right, get that pulled up, and we'll get right into this to clarify that for you guys. Okay, so boom. It is hereby declared to be a what? Hold on, I want to clarify this. It is hereby declared to be a Cestacue trust. Who knows what a Cestacue trust is? When I talked to you guys about the trust before, I've explained to you what a Cestacue trust is. This is the trust that is set up for you during your birth, right? After you're born, you have a trust that has been set up for you through the vital statistics, and they are operating it unbeknownst to you, right? There are a few different ways that the trust can be assumed. It's the trust is actual trust res, and the Cestacue is the res. But we're gonna get into that. Let's continue on. It says it is hereby declared to be a Cestacue trust. They tell you there's no such thing as a Cestacue trust. They say that's a misnomer. You know, people are coming up with conspiracy theories, but here they're talking about the duties of the municipal assembly, those assemblymen that are working for the people, the actual duties, right, that they had to operate with the Cestacue trust. And this is in the New York Charter, right? You can look it up for yourself. Once again, this is the Charter of the City of New York, Charter number 378, 1897. And you'll be able to read all this information. There's a ton of information. Y'all know I'm just going to go over a bit because I'm going through a couple of documents, but just so you can verify. I'm going to say it again. It is hereby declared to be a Cestacue trust in respect to the said property, to the funds and the effects, respectively, and any co-trustees or any Cestacue trust. What is a co-trustee? A co-trustee would be like a bank, a lawyer, a judge, a corporation, as far as like the automobile franchise, anyone that's giving out loans for mortgage, death loans, things of that nature. These are all co-trustees. Okay. It says, and any co-trustee and any Cestacue trust shall be entitled. Any co-trustee or trustee shall be entitled as against the said trustees, right? The co-trustee, you would also be entitled. You are a co-trustee because you're a trustee of under the Cestacue account. You are practically an agent, pretty much. Once they set that birth certificate up for you, right? It says, and in regard to the said property, the funds and the effects to all the rights and privileges that are provided by law for any co-trustee or Cestacue to actually prosecute and maintain any action to prevent waste, and injury to any property, funds. Now, this is important, right? Funds and estates that are held in trust, funds and estates that are held in trust for the people, right? It says such trustees are hereby made subject. You're a subject. What is a subject? A subject means they're a servant, right? A subject is a public servant, right? Because they are to work for the people, right? They're indebted to work for the people. Right? So they're receiving the funds as trustees through the cities and the allotment of the township so that they're able to take care of the state, of the county, or the facility that they're operating, right? To all the duties and responsibilities that are imposed by law on the trustees, responsibilities that are imposed by law. The trustees have a responsibility by law to operate proficiently, to make sure that they're assisting the people, make sure they're acting proficiently in the public trust money and using their aptitude and knowledge to work for the benefit of the people. But that's not what they're doing, right? It says, and such duties and responsibilities may be enforced by the city or by any co-trustee you consider a co-trustee to enforce this, right? Because you are represented in the assembly, in the Senate, right? Or any Cestacue trust aforesaid. So you can go and sue, right? You can take, and assume, so on and so forth, right? Now let's see what'll happen to them if they don't operate with you when you come and let them know that, hey, I'm going to take over the responsibility of my trust. Hey, I'm setting up my estate in operating my trust myself. I don't need the state to operate and govern my entities, right? To govern my CHRCH, right? To govern my abilities to be able to operate as a proficient person that is not deceased in the mind, or black in the eyes of the law, or a minor, a child in the eyes of the law. I can operate. I've reached the age of majority. The age of majority is 18, being proficient to operate mentally under your own estate. But you can only do that when you have assumed your trust and gotten yourself together in the eyes of the law and let them know that you are operating in such a way. Okay, let's continue. Let's look at the violations of these members. Who are these members? We're talking about these people that are not doing their duties correctly, who are the members of the municipalities, right? Under Section 60, it says that any member of the municipal assembly who shall knowingly and willfully disregard any provision of law that is applicable to the members of the state assembly, or who shall vote for any contract in violation of the law, voting for a contract in violation of the law, right? Or any appropriation that is unauthorized by law, or in excess of the amount that is authorized by law, or for any legal or injurious disposition of corporate property. Illegal, injurious disposition. That's misappropriating your trust, right? That's taking advantage of your CHRCH trust, right? That's taking contracts and making you subject to those contracts, not letting you know that you are the secured party that has security in that particular note that you created, right? All right. It says the rights or the franchises shall be guilty. The rights or the franchise. What is a franchise? A business, a company, a corporation, right? It says rights or franchises. Any franchise, like that car dealership that didn't inform you that once you signed for this vehicle, you opened up a blockchain of credit to allow them to go to the Federal Reserve. So now they can go through the Treasury to receive the funding for this particular property that you have signed for, because you, the people, are the ones that have the right to that, right? They don't let you know, unbeknownst to you, that you have signed for a blockchain credit that opens up the Treasury to allow you, because of your name, to get the funding to pay for that particular item, right? The state takes care of all of that because you're not doing it yourself under your trust. You're not operating proficiently. They shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. They're guilty of a misdemeanor. They shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and they are what? Liable. Uh-oh. You mean they liable? The judges, the lawyers, the corporations, they're all liable? Yeah, they're liable to punishment and actual penalties. Payment. Penalties are payments. Punishment and payment that is prescribed thereof, and every member that is voting in favor thereof shall be individually liable actually as well. So not only the particular corporation, but anybody that participated. So if a judge, a lawyer, a district attorney, all these people come against you, even in a court proceeding, right? And there was some things done unfairly to you, they're all held liable. Anybody that participated, even if they're not the one that brought the charges, right? They are individually liable. Individually, each one is individually liable to refund the amount to the city at the suit of any citizen or taxpayer. Wait a minute. They talking about paying out your lawsuit, right? They talking about paying out the lawsuit for what they owe you. Y'all got it? Professor, they climbed me off of YouTube for this last year. I'm here for my people. All you got to do is reach out to me. But I don't like to solicit, because after that, I can't believe how I was clowned on YouTube when people just didn't know what was going on. But these same damn people that did all that, they got that boy Willie Lilly locked up, right? They got Willie Lilly locked up, Tulu and them, telling him to go in there, acting a fool, didn't even have him set up correctly. Them same people turned on me and tried to act like I didn't know what I was doing when I was efficiently setting people up properly. It's sick. This is why I came to show this today. Not because of that. I was going to do it anyway. I did it on TikTok yesterday. I said, let me do this on YouTube so people can have this information as well and know that I did not do anything fraudulent. Only the fraud people have done things fraudulent. The ones that actually were taking this boy's money from him every month. We ain't gonna get into that, but yeah. All right, let's go. They are liable to refund the amount to the city in a suit of any citizen and taxpayer. So who are these citizens and taxpayers? Let me show you guys. If you are in the trust, right? If you have your trust set up, right? You have local standards in housing utilities. Local standards in housing utilities. I told you guys the public utilities last year. I hope you took advantage of that. Now, there's a way to actually claim certain things on this. Now, let's look at this. Local housing and standard utilities for what? For individuals and for what? Businesses and self-employed. A trust is a self-employed business. You have to operate as the executor or the executrix for a woman. The trust is a business. It's an entity. This is why you have to get an EIN, an entity identification number with your trust, because the EIN sets you up as a separate entity. It's a person. It's a business. Is that clear? I don't know if it is or not, but I can't make it any clearer. Let me show you right here. So the local standards in housing and utilities, right, is for individuals, business and self-employed, business tax accounting, and employee ID numbers. You see it right here. Employee ID numbers, EIN that's set up for your trust. Business trust, self-employed, small business. Your trust is a small business, so you can have a small business set aside to operate in commerce and selling and warehousing, whatever it is you choose to do. Now I'm going to show you guys exactly what this is. Check this out. We're going to go to Alabama because it's the first one, and I'll show you exactly what these standards are. So this is very important. All right. Now, check this out. The IRS collects financial standards that are intended for the use and calculating repayment of delinquent taxes, right? It says that the housing and the utility standards are derived from the United States Census Bureau, counting and calculating the people that are in the United States, right? All of the states that they find united under a union, even though they're all a corporate body in itself, just like the New York Charter was explaining, it is a corporate body politic. Each state has its own constitution. Each state is actually its own country, but they are organized under the 50 states, right? Now, check this out. It says the United States Census Bureau, the American Community Survey, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, and they are provided to the state down to the county level. The standard for particularly county and family size, listen, county and family size includes both housing and utility allowed. Okay, so first off, let's make sure you guys comprehend this. Now, remember, we're talking about businesses. We're talking about EIN, self-employed. But when you go here into the description, it's explaining to you that they're talking about particularly family size for housing and utility that are allowed. What is allowed? It's an allowance. Remember when you were a child, every week, if you did good, you did your chores, you did good in school, you get an allowance from your parents. It's an allowance, something that is owed or due to you based off your performance, right? Okay, so both housing and utilities that are allowed for a taxpayer's primary place of residence, generally, and listen, for the taxpayer, the trust, for the taxpayer's primary place of residence, right? We're not talking about a business. It's telling you right here, we're talking about a residence, and usually when a person has a business operating out of the residence, it's their trust, right? Or some type of small business for self-employment or, so on and so forth. And all these things qualify under the local standards, right? It says generally the total number of persons that are allowed for the determined family size should be the same as those allowed as exemptions. We said exemption. It says the taxpayer that has an exemption. What is an exemption? It means you're exempt. You don't have to pay it, right? Because these things are due to you from the state. Because see, once you have your trust set up and your estate is set up, the state is not operating on your behalf. You are operating and you are making sure you're directly handling your own business, right? But when you don't have a trust set up and you don't have an estate set up, what happens is the state receives the allotment of money. It goes into each township, as it told you, the county, so on and so forth. Remember, we read on the other document? So these are exemptions that the taxpayer in their most recent year in return. So when you file your taxes, the housing and utility standards include what? The taxes for your mortgage, for your rent, property taxes, interest, insurance, maintenance, repairs, gas, electric, water, heating, oil, garbage collection, residual, telephone service, cell phone services, cable television, internet services, and these tables include 5 categories. Do y'all get this? I'm gonna let that sit for a minute. Y'all with me? Professor said, I'm with you. I know, Medusa. That's why I said I got to start coming over. I had a few people say, sis, where you been? You got to come to this. Come over to YouTube. We miss you. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it live. This is so important and pertinent, okay? And this is why I'm breaking this down, just so you guys can see it yourself. This is no game. Like, this is like facts. Wait till y'all see this. We ain't even got started yet. When y'all see this, see what the state is getting for you. Let's see what the state is receiving for you. Let's continue. I'm going to show you. It says that the taxpayer, you being the taxpayer, is allowed, that's an allowance. Your taxpayer is getting an allowance from the IRS because it's derived from the Treasury for your needs, for your essential needs, right? The taxpayer is allowed the standard amount or the amount that is actually spent on housing. You're allowed this. It's an allowance that you can receive. Do y'all understand this? Housing and utilities, whichever is less, if the amount is claimed is more than the total allowed in the housing and utility standard, the taxpayer must provide documentation to substantiate. Oh, I wasn't using, sorry. To substantiate the documents and substantiate the actual expenses. So let's look at your expenses. I want to do it for one of you guys. Somebody put in the chat what state you're in, and I'm going to show you, and then put your county. Put your state in your county. Or your state. I need the state so I can go to the state and then pull up your county. Put your state in your county. Whoever puts their state and county first, I'm going to show you what your allowances are and what your exemptions are under your trust in your estate and what you can be filing to receive back on your taxes through the IRS. Anybody want to put their county and state? That may be too private. Okay, that's fine. Let's continue. I'll just pull up a generic one. So this is what happens. It's telling you right here, the housing expense for a family, it's for a family. Wait a minute. I thought we were talking about charities, nonprofits, businesses, things of that nature. I thought we were talking about small business, operating businesses, business structures, industry, small businesses, things of that nature. We're talking about those things, right? Yeah, we're talking about those things because that's the tax in your estate. And it's talking about what? The housing expense. This is for a family of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now let's go to this real quick. So in Alabama, let's look at Augusta County. In Augusta County, let's say you have a family of 4, a husband, wife, 2 children. So let's look at the pricing. It says that in Augusta, the housing expense for a family of 4, they can receive the allowance of $2,115. That's just for 4 people in the household. $2,115, right? Now, mind you, this is monthly, guys. This isn't a year. We're not talking about a yearly tax exemption. We're talking about a monthly exemption. Indiana, Floyd County. I'm finna show you then, bro. I'm gonna go back real quick. Hold on, because I want y'all to see this, and I'm gonna make it personal for you. Okay, Indiana, Floyd County. Let's get to it. Indiana. And then we're going to go to Floyd County. All right, Floyd County. Household of 4, $2,211 monthly, brother. How many people in your household? I'll show you. Florida is different too. I can pull it up. There's only a few of us in here. Okay. $2,111. I want you to write that down, brother, because I'm going to show you something else. Because this isn't all the exemptions. There's more. And I want you to calculate it because I'm going to show the sister hers as well. But I want you to write that down. 2211. Write that down. 2211. The sister said Orange, Florida. Okay, let me go to Orange, Florida real quick. I'm going to give you your calculations, darling. People think this is a game, and I want y'all to know it ain't. This the IRS. Y'all see this IRS website. I ain't playing with y'all. The IRS right here. See? Okay. Just to clarify, I ain't making this up. Florida's local standards, housing and utilities, updated April of 2025. They update it every year because, there's a cost of living increase. All right, Orange County. Let's go to Orange County. All right. Orange County, a household of 4 is $2,700. You see, it varies by the area. Each area is different. That's why you have to look it up. Even the counties, even in the same state of Florida, you see all these different areas. Each county has different pricing. It all depends on what's going on in that particular county. Orlando. You said check Orlando for you? Oh, you put Orange and Orlando. Okay, let's see. Orlando. I don't see Orlando. Let's see. It doesn't have Orlando in here, darling. It only has Orange, Okeechobee, Okaloosa, and Acela. There's no let me see what she said. I said Florida. Orlando. Oh, Orlando. Orlando. I thought it was Orlando, Florida. Hold on. Why isn't it in here? Unless they don't have calculations, which would be impossible. Yeah, I don't see it in here, sweetheart. I don't know why. I'm not real familiar with Florida, but I thought it was Orlando, Florida as well. Okay, so let me go back. He said, the brother said it's 3. Okay, let me make sure I get you the right amount, brother. Hold on, we got to go back. You were in Indiana, Floyd County, Indiana. Okay, hold on. Indiana, Floyd County, calculations for 3 in the household. Okay. Okay. Okay, brother, it's 1983. 1983 for 3 people in the household. 1983. You got your amount correct, sis? Because I'm going to show you guys the rest of the calculations because this isn't it. It gets real good right quick. I'm going to show y'all for real. Now, mind you, calculate that amount, and I'm going to show you the other calculations. So there's also standards for transportation. Let's check it out. You get an allowance for transportation because it's an essential need. You have to have transportation to be able to get around. That's any business, any trust that handles business throughout the day. Handling your business is paying bills, any type of paperwork, so on and so forth. Now, understanding this is what's going on with the transportation. The transportation standard for the taxpayers with a vehicle consists of 2 parts. Nationwide figures for the monthly loan or a lease amount. You can get a nationwide allowance for the monthly loan or lease amount if you are paying on your vehicle or leasing a vehicle. They are referred to as the ownership cost. Your ownership cost, if you're paying a monthly car loan or you have a monthly lease, it is called an ownership cost that you receive the dividends for, right? And the additional amounts of monthly operating costs, also operating costs. So a transmission issue, you got a quick brake job you got to get done. You got insurance. You got to pay for gas, right? You may be a person that takes what do you do? Carpooling. You may go downtown, park your vehicle, and then take public transportation. You're even allowed the allowance separately for public transportation. We can show you. It says the operating costs include maintenance, repairs, insurance, fuel, registration, license, inspections, parking, and tolls. You know, they try to get you on them tolls. These standard amounts do not include personal property taxes. They include the taxes for license, inspections, parking, tolls, gas, repairs, that I just explained to you guys, right? And it's your ownership cost. If you own a vehicle, even if you don't own a vehicle, you are allowed allotments. But if you own a vehicle, you can actually get the operating cost for paying your monthly car note or your lease payment. Okay. So it explains it right here. Let's talk about the ownership cost. Ownership costs shown in the table below provide the monthly allowance. It's an allowance for the lease or purchase of the vehicle, and you can have up to 2, not just 1. You can have up to 2 vehicles. See? Up to 2 vehicles. A single taxpayer is normally allowed 1 automobile. For each automobile, taxpayers will be allowed the lesser amount of the monthly payment of the particular lease or the car value or the ownership cost shown in the table below. If a taxpayer has no lease or no car loan, the amount allowed for ownership costs will be 0. So if you're a person that uses public transportation, you cannot claim ownership costs for a vehicle. You can't just say, okay, let me just claim this amount because it's available for me. I'm going to just claim it. You have to have that vehicle. You have to be able to prove that you have that cost that's affecting you for them to give you the allowance, for them to give you the exemption for those things, right? Now, operating costs. In addition to the operating costs, the taxpayer is allowed operating costs by the regional and the metropolitan areas as followed in the table below. For each automobile, the taxpayer would be allowed the lesser of the amount that is actually spent monthly by the operating costs or the operating costs that is shown in the table below. There is a single nationwide allowance for the public allowances, and based on the Bureau of the Labor Statistics, right? If the taxpayer owns a vehicle and uses public transportation, as I spoke of before, the expenses may be allowed for both. See? They can be allowed for both. Let me check the chat real quick. Let's see. Black Wolf, peace. Grandest. Orange is Orlando. Okay. Copper Goddess, grandest, love, grandest. All right, y'all. So let's check this out because it's getting good. Okay, so we got you two. We're gonna go over you guys' information, right? So you guys have the allotment for the housing and utility allowance, right? Now we're gonna get into your transportation allowance. The national standard that is allowed for public transportation. If you are not in a vehicle, you can claim the public transportation allowance of $244, and this is monthly. You are allowed $244 for transportation, public transportation monthly. If you do not have a vehicle, that will be included into the housing and utility costs. Now, if you're owning your vehicle, right? 1 or 2 cars, it all depends. If you have the ownership cost for the national average, 1 car is $662 a month. 2 vehicles is $1,324 a month. That's for ownership cost. And the national region for the operating costs, in the northern region, 1 car is $302, 2 cars is $604. In Boston, New York, $401, $802, Philadelphia, $300, $600. Location of 1 car. This now we're going into the Midwest region. Chicago, $296, $520, $596. So you guys, the guys in Indiana. So Indiana, do you have 1 or 2 vehicles, brother? Let's just get this done real quick. If you have 1 vehicle to your amount, you're going to add $296. And if you have 2 vehicles, you're going to add to that amount $592. If you're using public transportation, then you're going to add $244. Okay. For the sister, Orlando, let's see. Oh man, this is an important call, guys. I gotta take this. Damn it. Orlando, hold on, guys. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Let me play something for you. Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry, actually in the middle of something, but guys, I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all can hold on for a second, but I'll be right back. I'm trying to play something for you, but obviously, this thing is acting stupid. So let's start here.
The weather is starting to get colder, but before it gets cold out, while it's still nice, we have a...
Okay, guys, I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds. This is very important.
These questions, because the right questions lead to the right answer. The right answer, the right direction. All you gotta do is execute in alignment. First and foremost, we gotta focus on what you're about to do. After all you made it through, you still be doubting you. Can't be waiting on the sign when you're the proof. No point in looking at the facts when you're the truth. Your purpose and your power are much greater than your problems. Use them both to solve it, or keep evolving. Trauma ain't your fault, but healing is your responsibility. Be your greatest ally, not your biggest enemy. Sometimes you gotta make a pivot. Focus on my future, not my past, and everything shifted. Self-awareness makes you truly gifted. I identify my triggers, learn from them, and start moving different. But you're gonna be a slave until you master self. Mindsets of abundance, they attracting wealth. If it don't align with me, then that's fine with me. But greatest what I gotta be. Greatest shall you be. Greatest shall you do. Greatest shall you have. But you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance? Greatest shall you be. Greatest shall you do. Greatest shall you have. But you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance? Yeah. Focus on the gifts that God gave you. Who are you outside the way that your pain made you? What would you do if you ain't have what your fear gave you? How would you love if broken expectations didn't change you? Don't make excuses, make better decisions. Can't blame nobody else for the way that you live it. Playing victim to your past don't keep you a victim. Overcome that superhero syndrome. Go from lack of limitations to a lack of limitations. It's gonna take you moving with a lack of hesitation. It's gonna take reversing all of that backwards thinking. But it's gonna take you further than all them dreams that you dreaming. Yeah, you can do it. I swear you can do it. I believe you have what it takes to get through it. This is divine timing, divine intervention, divine direction, divine protection for your divine shall you be. Greatest shall you do. Yo, greatest share you have, but you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance? Greatest share you be, greatest share you do, greatest share you have, but you gotta know it's true. What's your greater resistance? What's your greater resistance?
I'm back. All right, perfect. Sorry about that, guys. I had to take that. That was very important. Okay, so boom. Oh, you got 3 vehicle can. Benny, Grandis, Shelly. Hi, darling. Okay, so Ken, with 3 vehicles there, you can only do 2, as you see. The allowance is for 2, so you would add the 2 vehicles. Yours would be, as we said, let's see, let's go back. Wait, where is it? Okay, yours will be the amount you would add to your amount is $592. All right. And the sister in Florida, sis, how many vehicles do you have? Do you have 1 or 2 vehicles? Because you would add the amount for that, because there's more things, guys. It's not it. They don't just give you the allowances for housing, utilities, and vehicles. I'm going to show you. All right. Sis, yours would be for 1 vehicle, $400. And for 2, $800. I'm not sure if you have 1 or 2, but either one, that's the amount you would add. Okay, so that would be for your operating costs, so on and so forth. So now, let's go back. Now we're going to look at your standards for your food and clothing and other items. They even pay for your toilet paper. Even your toilet paper, sanitary products, any of those things, right? All personal items, right? All right. National standards for food, clothing, and all other items. Food, clothing, and all other items. So you guys calculate those amounts, right? The housing, utilities, and the transportation. Now we're going to go into the standard that is the exemption allowance for food, clothing, and other items. Let's look at this. Now, check this out. This includes for food. Food includes food at home or food away from home, like if you buy lunch out for work, so on and so forth, all those things you can claim. Food at home refers to the total expenditure of food from grocery stores and other food in the excess of the purchase of non-food items. It excludes the purchase of non-food items, right? Food away from home includes all meals, snacks, including tips, fast food, takeout, delivery, and full service restaurants, etc. They even giving you allowance and exemption for these things. Can you believe it? And here people think they're broke and they don't have anything. It says housekeeping. You get it for housekeeping supplies, including your laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, stationery supplies, postage stamps, delivery services, miscellaneous household products, and lawn and garden supplies. You get it for apparel and service that include clothing, footwear, material, patterns. Not only for clothing, for patterns, if you're a person that sews, patterns, and actual notions for making clothes, alterations, repairs, taking things to the cleaners, all of this stuff, right? Personal care products include products for your hair, oral hygiene products, shaving needs, cosmetics, bath products, electrical personal care appliances, and other personal care products. The miscellaneous allowance is also for expenses for the taxpayers that may include that are not including any of the allowable living expenses for the portion of expenses that are allowed, right? They're allowed these total things. So let's get into it. All right, brother, for 3. Here we go. We're going to calculate $1,068. Add that to your amount. Sis, I'm not sure if you had 2 or how many people in your household, but depending on how many people in your household, this is the allotment, right? 1, 2, 3, or 4. 1, 2, 3, or 4. If there's additional, you can add on. So, brother, you're going to do 1,068. Sister, this is for you, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And if there's more than 4 persons, you're going to add an additional $394 for the fifth, sixth, seventh, each person. You get this allowance. Not for the housing or anything changes, but for the food and things you can add for each additional person. Okay. Now, let's go back. The last and final expense would be for any of your healthcare needs, right? So if you're a person that's buying you have a prescription and you have to pay for a monthly prescription, or if you use Tylenol, over-the-counter medicine, things of that nature. If you're under 65 years of age, you can get $84 back that you can claim every month just for your medical needs. That would be for any type of prescriptions, any type of pills that you need to get for pain, or anything that you would purchase from the pharmacy. Those receipts you would turn in to get the allowance for those. Okay, if you're a person over 65, it's $149. Okay, all right. So that's the standard. Now let's get back to it. Let's get back to the reading. My favorite part, to get you guys into this. So now this is the Charter of New York as well. This is going to tell you something important about New York itself. This is from the 1600s. Now check this out. This is, as you guys can see, I'm going to verify, this is the Charter of the City of New York, right? Now check this out. George II, King George. George II, of the grace of God of Great Britain, France, Ireland, King, defender of the faith, and to all that who actually present letters shall come in agreement. Whereas of the 22nd day of April in the year of our Lord, 1686. So in 1686, on the 22nd of April, this is the documentation, right? There with this charter. It says Thomas Dugan, then the lieutenant governor and the vice admiral of New York and its independencies under our predecessor James II, then King of England, and did make and execute a certain grant or an instrument in writing under the said province of New York in these particular words that follow. It says Thomas Dugan, lieutenant governor and the vice admiral of New York and its dependencies under his majesty James II, by the grace of God in England, Scotland, France, and Ireland, king, defender of the faith, and the supreme lord of the proprietor of the colony in the province of New York and its dependencies in America, and to all of whom it shall be sendeth greeting, whereas into the city of New York, listen, this is the important part, into the city of New York is an ancient city. The city of New York is an ancient city. Now, listen, we're talking about in the 1600s. The king is referring to New York as an ancient city. It was ancient in 1600. So why is it they acting like nothing's ancient over here in this land? Knowing that it's ancient. It's going to clarify that right here. It says right here that the said province and the citizens of the said city have anciently been a body politic. The citizens have anciently been a body politic, and a corporate and citizen of the said cities have held, used, and enjoyed as well within the same and elsewhere in the said province, divers and sundry rights, liberties, privileges, franchises, free customs, preeminences, right? Advantages, jurisdictions, emoluments, right? Immunities, as well as by prescription, as by the charter, letters, patterns, grants, and the actual confirmation, not only as divers and governors and commanders in chief in the said province, but also as several governors, directors, generals, and commanders in chief of the nether Dutch nation. Okay, I want you guys to understand that, right? I really want y'all to understand that this is the ancient man, but let's keep going. It says the septums of the city of New Amsterdam, right? And sometimes by the name of the mayor, alderman, commonly the city of New York, sometimes by the name of the mayor, alderman, and the sheriff in the city of New York, sometimes by the name of the mayor, the alderman, in the city of New York, and by the divers of the name, and by the several letters, patents, and the charters, the grants, the writings, the records, the municipalities, the monuments, all these other things. It says, and whereas the citizens and the inhabitants of the said city have erected, built, and appropriated at their own proper cost and charges several public buildings, accommodations, and conveniences. Hold on. Who we talking about? We talking about people building up the cities, the inhabitants, the people, they were, getting these things together at the time. The masons, the masonry people, the real masons, the ones that are mason builders, carpenters, things of that nature, right? They built it up for the said city. This is the said city hall and the stat hall and the ground thereto belonging to the market house and the bridge unto the dock, or the docks or the impunities and the new burial place without the gate of the city. The gate of the city. I'm going to show you guys the city too. And they have established and settled one ferry from the said city of New York to Long Island, and for the accommodation and conveniently in the passengers of the said citizens and the travelers. And whereas several inhabitants of the said city in the Manhattan Islands go to hold from the until the most sacred majesty, respectively and well, by the several and respected letters, patents, grants, charters, and conveyances that are made and granted by the late lieutenants, governors, and the commanders of the chief of the said province. Otherwise, several of the particular messages in the lands, the tenements, the hereditaments upon Manhattan Island and in the city of New York, aforesaid, and well as said by the mayor, alderman, the commonalty, and the said city, so on and so forth. Okay, now it says right here, and the city of New York, aforesaid, and their heirs, and the city of New York and their heirs and assigns respectively may hold, exercise, enjoy in only such and the same liberties, privileges, and franchises, rights, royalties, and free customs, jurisdictions, immunities as they have anciently had. Right? Anciently, they've always had these things. So these things can't be taken from anyone or a right given to them to something that has been a natural privilege. Custom, jurisdictions, immunities, and they have anciently had and used and held and enjoyed, but also such public buildings, accommodations, conveniences, massages, tenements, lands, and actually hereditaments in the said city of New York and upon Manhattan's Island, aforesaid, which as aforesaid have been by the citizens and the inhabitants erected and built, or which have, as aforesaid, been held, enjoyed, and granted and conveyed unto them, or any of them respectively. All right, guys, let's get to something else here. Let's talk about these people now. You guys saw that we showed you that they, as the municipalities, have a responsibility, right? The municipalities have a responsibility to handle things and to be professional about it, right? Judges, lawyers, things of this nature, right? Let's check this out. Let's see what the United States Corporation Company do. The lawyers, the SEC, the United States Corporation Company, they work with the Securities Exchange Act, Investment Company Act, Public Utilities, the Trust and Indenture Act, the Investment Advisors Act, the SEC service to the actual lawyers. This is a SEC service to the lawyers. What's the service to the lawyer for? It includes examination of papers and draft. Then we just read that, and it told you in the city's charter that they're supposed to be over those contracts. Let me remind y'all just in case, because I know we went over a couple of things. Hold on, let me go back just to refreshing y'all. It said right here. Let me find that sentence actually. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm going to show y'all that. Secure. Oh, it's up here. Okay, here it goes. It shows right here. Any member of the municipal assembly who shall knowingly, willfully disregard any provision of law applicable to the members of the said assembly, or who shall vote for any contract in violation of the law, who shall vote for any contract in violation of the law. Now, hold on. Just to clarify. Any member of the municipal assembly who shall knowingly and willfully disregard any provisions of law applicable to the members of the said assembly, or who shall vote for any contract in violation of the law, who shall vote for any contract in violation of the law, or any appropriation unauthorized by law. Okay, so let's get back to this. This is from the Trust in American Bar Association, right? And this is their record, volume 27. It states right here that these lawyers work with the Securities and Exchange Act, so on and so forth. They're working with the judges, so on and so forth, to do what? The service to the lawyers only is to do what? Includes examination of papers, of contracts, contracts. What does a lawyer do? He examines contracts and papers, actually drafted by them or prepared under the supervision of forms and documents, right? They're proposed to be filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, including the following: registration statement, broker-dealer application. Why would they need a broker-dealer application? Why is a lawyer needing a broker-dealer application? Well, so he can broker deals on your what? Securities. Because he works with the Securities and Exchange Office and the United States Corporation, the U.S. Corp, the United States, the USA that y'all think is the government, is the United States Corporation. I just showed y'all that. The Acts of Incorporation was incorporating a body politic. That was the first document we went over. Okay, so now the registration statement, the broker-dealer application, the revised prospectus, the proxy statement, the exchange listing, applications for confidential treatment, exempt, prospectus, right? Annual and current reports. Why is the lawyer working with securities? Because he has a duty to do so. And let's see why. The United States Corporation. What's his duty? Well, he has a duty with the court. A duty with the court and fiduciary bonds that are available in every county seat. Oh, you mean to tell me that when they put me under a so-called arrest, there's a fiduciary bond that can handle that, instead of them telling me I have to get a bond, or I have to have someone put their house up, or I have to have go pay a bond to a bail bondsman. They don't let you know that there is a court and fiduciary bond available in every county seat. They don't let you know that, even though it told us right there in the charter that they're supposed to work with the contracts for you, for the people, the public people. It says, let the USF&G man supply your judicial bonds. There's an agent in every county, seat, equipped with the power to actually issue them without delay, to issue these fiduciary bonds. Why do they tell you to go to a bail bondsman and pay fiat, fake-ass currency, to a bail bondsman for a bond when the bonds are available in every county seat? This is right out of the bar journal. You guys see that? Let me go to the chat real quick. Y'all see that? Nobody's tapping. Nobody's paying attention. Oh my gosh. I wish you guys could understand it. I wish y'all could understand how this is getting broken down for you. Issues that without delay, they would look for him for the fiduciary, court, and miscellaneous judicial bonds, for fiduciary, court, and miscellaneous fiduciary bonds that are backed by the strength of the service of the full F&G, which is the Fidelity Company. Well, why does this happen? Because all these municipalities have duties, right? Let's look at these duties. Let's look at this. This is under trust in the states as well. It's going to let you know and show you interstate problems of fiduciaries. They've been having problems with these fiduciaries. Okay. Let me show you. Let me show you what they're supposed to do. Utility management under the trustees. Now, mind you, didn't I just show you that they have the utility management for yourself? If you have your trust and everything set up, your estate set up, then you would be able to receive those funds by claiming the allowances and the exemptions through your IRS portal, right? Using your EIN, which is your trust EIN. Now check this out. This is going to show you further into what was going on with the municipalities and what they're supposed to be doing. Okay. And check this out. The utility management under the trustees. This is utility management. And mind you, this is a person that these are these trustees before a person has their trust set up, because the township and the county receives the funding so that the town can be taken care of with fiduciary responsibilities, but they don't do that. The trustees have a responsibility. I'm going to show you right here how they're working with the SEC, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission, using your information to be able to pull funding from the Treasury. Now, check this out. It says, with the signing of the new type of trust indenture this month, Harris Trust and Savings Bank of Chicago assumes control as trustee. I told y'all the bank was a trustee. They're fiduciaries. And these particular banks that have been assigned as trustees, right? These particular trust banks that were assigned to conglomerate and make sure that they are taking care of certain states' electricity, and you're supposed to be getting the help from them. So check this out. Harris Trust and Savings Bank of Chicago assumes the control as trustees of the entire electric utility system of the $2 billion city service company. All common stock and majority of the preferred have been turned over to the trust company. See, the stock is turned over to the trust company because they're responsible for you. They have a responsibility as a fiduciary. The management as trustees, they are utility managers. The complete voting power to elect the directors and otherwise exercise the virtual ownership control to the actual subsidiary in the city service power and light company in the hands of the trustee. Putting the city's service, the subsidiary city service power and light company in the hands of the trustee. All light companies, all utility companies are in the hands of the trustees being operated at the bank. The payments are coming from them because they're being paid to the state annually as a municipality. It says, who will also collect income and apply the net to payment of interest of the subsidiary's debenture. It says this particular step marks a far-reaching and a constructive application of corporate fiduciary service and facilities. Corporate fiduciary service and facilities. And it will bring directly to stockholders, who are the stockholders, as well as to the company and its customers. The high type of trusteeship. Why would they have a trusteeship with the customers for a utility company through the bank? Why would they have a trusteeship for a customer with the utility company through the bank? Because the banks are provided the funding through the municipality of the township to pay these principals out. It would be a truly active management. Harold Eckert, vice president in charge of the bank's trust department, advises that the bank intends to make full use of the powers that are vested in its trusteeship. And it points to the possibilities of extending the fiduciary service to similar corporate protection. The arrangement was actually initiated to segregate the electric utility interests of the city service company, a holding company, from its oil properties, which are not considered appropriate to actually supervision under the Securities and Exchange Act. Supervision under the Securities and Exchange Act. The electric properties that are registered under the SEC, Securities and Exchange Act, they will thus be exempted from provisions of the Utility Holding Company Inc. Exemption, there go that word again, the same exemption you get with filing through your IRS portal. Harris Trust and Savings Bank will have control of a power and light system with the assets of $422 million. Wait a minute. Hold on. I want y'all to understand this. Do you understand why would somebody tell me in the chat? Pay attention, anybody. Do you understand, sis, Grand Rising, sis? Do you understand why would Harris Trust and Savings Bank, who is, mind you, a trustee and a fiduciary of the state, a trustee and a fiduciary of the state, a state agent with responsibilities, why would they have control over $422 million over 15 states? And they are serving about 2 million customers. Hold on. They got $422 million to service 2 million customers. Why would Harris Trust and Savings Bank have $422 million to service 2 million customers? Because they're the fiduciary, right? Because they're the trustee over the accounts, right? Because they're supposed to be taking care of these under the municipalities. This is only in 15 states. Now, mind you, this is for 15 states, $422 million to service 15 million customers in 15 states. So that we're still looking at 35 states that have different trusteeship and have the same operation. But we're just talking about this one right now. In the 15 states, including such operation companies as Ohio, if you got Ohio Public Service, and Toledo Edison, if you have Toledo Edison Service, if you have Tennessee Power and Light Company, this your trustee right here. I'm gonna help a lot of people out right today. Here's your trustee right here. Harris Trust and Savings Bank controlled over the power light system with the assets of $422 million, serving about 2 million customers in 15 states, including such operating companies as Ohio Public Service, Toledo Edison, East Tennessee Power and Light Company. They're supposed to be paying for that through the public utility allowance. Mind you, they was getting $422 million for those customers. We talking about 1939. What do you think that amount is now? We talking about nearly 100 years ago. You know how much money they get now? Let me go to the chat. Do y'all know how much money they get now? To take care of you and your utilities, but the state keeps it and claims the money and abuses it as they do everything else. Anyway, a similar trust indenture has been approved and went into effect at the same time, covering 3 other large natural gas distributing subsidiaries in the City Service Company, the City National Bank and Trust Company of Chicago as trustee. Now, this is a different one. They have control over these companies and will place the City National and fiduciary ownership of the gas production and transportation and distribution system with a gross revenue of over $40 million a year. Do y'all get that? Do y'all see that these fiduciaries are abusing you? Let me see. I'm going to show y'all. It might be under another tab. Damn it. Let me see. I don't know, but I'm going to show y'all this. Who's Uncle Sam? They tell you Uncle Sam is the government, right? But this is really Uncle Sam. I want y'all to see this right here. Hold on. This is Uncle Sam. This is Uncle Sam. Yes, he was billions of dollars. They're getting billions right now. And people sitting up here running, oh, my light bill finna be cut off. Your shit finna be cut off, but you got trustees at these banks that's supposed to be taking care of those. The municipalities are responsible. But people don't want to hear that. They think this shit is crazy. But let me get to this real quick so I can show y'all even more. This is a pioneer of Cowaliga community who never went to school a day in his life, but dreamed of such opportunities for the children of his children. Uncle Sam. They turned his name and started using it for the government because he was governed in a governed state at the Cowaliga community. Let me show y'all. Look at Uncle Sam. He was the grandfather of all these indigenous children. I'm going to show you. They that walk in the darkness. Let's get to it. Let me show you guys real quick how they termed Uncle Sam by learning about agriculture, the thing that they take from you. Look, y'all. Check this out. The 7th annual report of the Cowaliga School. The Cowaliga School. It was incorporated Cowaliga Academy and Industrial Institute. An Industrial Institute, huh? Look at it. Look how beautiful it was. They had a whole girls' dormitory. This is the girls' dormitory. Let me make it a little bigger so you guys can see. This is the girls' dormitory right here. This is the girls' domestic training building. This is the girls' domestic training building. And this is the patron hall for the girls' dormitory. They had a bell tower. Hold on. This is all on that land. And then they had a boys' dormitory, right? In the boys' industrial building. They had a separate school for the boys. The boys had their own dormitory, so on and so forth. You guys see it, right? The girls' domestic training and the girls' dormitory, bell tower, Howlands Hall boys' dormitory, and their industrial building, the Cowaliga Community Post Office in Benson, Alabama in 1912. Check this out. I want you to see something. See, they had these children in these industrial schools with the trust set up so that they would be all set when they get 18. Once they go into their own trust, see, the United States Department of Agriculture has taken this information and turned Uncle Sam into their benefit, using Uncle Sam as a Department of War, which is crazy. Okay, check this out. The trustees, they had trustees for these children to take care of them while they were on the school campus. The parents would entrust them with their children. I herewith submit the 17th annual report of the Cowalooga School and the income and adventures and the statement and the balance sheet and the list of the donors present, the needs and the actual condition of the school. Enrollment year, I'm not going to get into all that. I just want to show you guys real quick all the support they receive, donations for these children, these rich children in these boarding schools. Contributions toward the current expenses may be made in any amounts they could contribute to it. Current expenses, including the teacher's salaries, $8,000, so on and so forth. The kids were set up with trustees, though, with trust. The boys' trade building and the equipment, $2,000. 2 teachers' cottages, $3,000. This is all the costs they had set up to make sure that they received everything they needed through the treasury that was set up for their incorporated district. The academic department, they had the principal in the industries teaching these children agriculture, industry, home ec, religious life, all this different stuff, accounting, business. They should be teaching kids accounting now, but they don't. Inventories of everything they had. The school as a social center. It was a social center, right? It was something for community. They walked through the darkness. Uncle Sam. He was the grandfather of all these children, most of the children in that school. So it shows from the endowments that were received. Endowments right here. Income for the year. Endowments. $561 for each one. Their salaries, everything, showing that they were taking care of these children. I wish I could turn this right side up for you. But this, guys, if you go to, I know y'all not on TikTok, but if you go to my TikTok, you can see all this clearly because I've corrected the pages with the screenshot. But this is his family. It says that this particular student group from the Howland Hall, right? They had 24 or more are actual grandchildren of Uncle Sam. 24 or more of these children from the school were grandchildren of his because he started this. And the whole Cowalooga Institute was set up. We're going to show you where he started at. But most of these are his grandchildren, Uncle Sam. Okay? Let me go down. I'm going to show you guys. I'm listing their names. The school, once again, showing that beautiful. That school was beautiful. The whole land was beautiful. This is where he started. This is where Uncle Sam started with his children, teaching them in school, right? This is where he started. And then he went from that to this. Ain't we outstanding? Ain't we outstanding? And here are the teachers.
Power off.
Okay. All right, guys. So, yeah, we're going to get ready to get up out of here. I wanted to show you guys that honoring trusteeship. I wanted you guys to understand that there is a proper sestacute set up for you in your state, in your city, in your town, in your county. And you have to be in your right mental capacity to take control of it. I'm going to read this last thing. Commissioner of Deeds appointed an oath term clerk thereof. They have an oath to protect you. The board of the aldermen is hereby authorized and is empowered to actually appoint commissioners and deeds from time to time to hold the office for 2 years. Remember, we read that in the previous document. The deeds of the sum. Let's go down. The city clerk shall appoint an officer to be known as the commissioner of deeds of clerk, whose duty shall be to enter the names of the commissioners and the deeds appointed in the book of appointment, and to discharge such duties, as the city clerk may designate. To discharge. So if you need something discharged, you need to go to what? The city clerk. I ain't gonna get too much into that discharge because I might really lose y'all. But I wanted to come in, guys. I know it's been a while. I said I definitely wanted to come in and go over some information with y'all. I said I was gonna do about an hour. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. I appreciate everyone that did come through. I hope you guys enjoyed the information and got clarity on who is assuming the control over you as a minor, a minority, a minor, a child. You're in a childlike state in your mind. You're considered a minor, and you're considered black in the eyes of the law. Being deceased in the mind is being blind and where you can't see the light of day, which is really what's going on. But yeah. All right, guys. Peace, love, and bliss. I wanted to, I didn't even show this. I thought I had showed this. I'm going to show this on the screen going now. And actually, real quick, just get to this part again. Let me see. Where it shows you that the municipalities, remember, the municipalities, they are authorized as co-trustees on any Cestacute trust. Any Cestacute trust. Any trust res. All right, guys. Peace, love, and bliss. I'm out. Till later.